Welcome back to the channel. Today's menu, we're going to be installing the Thermo-Bob 3 on my Honda CRF450. Now the Thermo-Bob, its main purpose is to regulate temperature, and it helps tons on these bikes when you're using them as snow bikes. You're out in the mountains, sometimes sub-zero temperatures, and you're riding through cold snow. Engine's working double time. This helps regulate the temperature, and along with a little temperature sensor, you can dial everything in and not put a bunch of excess wear on your engine or potentially blow it up. So I've kind of gotten started without you, just removing all the junk here and draining the coolant. All we need access to is this line right here, and then it'll be that line further in there, the one that goes from the right to left radiator. With mine, I just removed my radiator brace, obviously the plastics, and then drain the coolant. So this is what we're gonna get in the package. Handful of hose clamps, and then these two little guys, and then our additional bypass hose. This is something else that I bought. It's the Trail Tech temperature gauge, and this is gonna be able to thread into, I believe, right where that is. So, let's get started. Alright, so first I'm gonna remove the bottom hose, and that's the hose that connects from the bottom of the right radiator to the bottom of the left radiator. What's gonna happen is that first coupler is gonna go in on this hose right about there. This sits in, attaches to the left, and then attaches to the right over here. This guy is gonna be sitting somewhere right about there. So we've got to take out a section, not any bigger than this. They recommend 5/8 of an inch. Leave enough hose to not only clamp onto this one, but also clamp from here back onto the right radiator. Right about there, and then once you do finally install it, you want the brass tip facing towards the right side of the bike. So I'm gonna go cut this, I'll get back to you. All right, so I got my stuff cut up. So I got the original hose, right? And then my hose here just has like a heat shield since it rests up against the engine. You can put that back on or off, whatever you want. Then hose clamp, coupler, jam it in there, facing towards the right side of the bike. Then we got our other hose clamp that's provided, and then the last little section here. Alright, I cleared some stuff out of here so that it would be a little bit better for filming. Took the header pipe off and loosened up this. This is the one that we need to cut. 2-inch, 1.9 inches is what they say. So lop off a decent section. I was trying to mock up kind of what would be a good spot there, because I've got some aftermarket stuff. It's way easier just to pop the hoses off. Alright, I've got this all hooked up here. Here's our coupler in the middle here. Clamps all over the place. And then our bypass hose is attached. The spot where you feed the temperature sensor into, it's just right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss it on. And something to note with the temperature gauge, down here, the threads, it's best to use a little bit of Teflon tape. That way, no leaks. First, I'm gonna get this bottom part in. Basically feed it in either route. Now at this point I'd go ahead and try and get all these, make sure they're all tightened down, because this is a pretty much solid position. Okay, so we got that lower hose on there. All of our clamps are tightened down. So the positioning of this, you want this brass piece on the inside, and that will, be clamped onto there. First off, mounting that bypass hose on there and then tightening that up. And then go ahead and mount that thing up. So at this point, what you can do is mock up about how much length you need on that bypass hose. So right now, mine, you can see it's all kinked up. I would say if I could almost cut it off like right at that kink there, and that would probably leave me with enough. So that's what I'm gonna do. And just remember, you can always cut a little bit more off. Can't necessarily put any back on. Okay, I just cut just a smidge more off, and that looks like it is going to be perfect placement. So go ahead, tighten all your clamps, double check all the ones that you did tighten. Alright, we got all of our lines buttoned up, and so now, fill her up with some coolant. Just work it side to side. Try and get everything filled up, and then just watch for any type of leaks. Just run it through a heat cycle, And if you got a temp gauge, make sure things are reading out correctly. Alright, so real quick with the Trail Tech temperature gauge, we've got actually 3 different displays. So we've got our actual temperature, we've got what our max temperature is set to, and then the time. So we'll keep an eye on that once we fire it up here, and eventually get that mounted in a nice place. Alright, so it looks like we're all set. The only thing I gotta do is find a decent spot for a little temperature gauge. But there she is, the beast. Can't wait to go riding. Still, 0 snow. It sucks. So there it is, a quick and dirty install of the Thermo-Bob 3 and the little Trail Tech temperature gauge. If you want to check out any of those products, they'll be linked down below in the description. Also, check out that little beanie right there. I think I'm zooming in on the patch, maybe, close. Wild Moto Shop, link down in the description as well. There's some super limited stuff like beanies and key tags, and then just your usual decals if you want to show some support to the channel. Also, if you want to show some support, use those affiliate links as well. As always, thanks again for watching. If you do want to find any more mods or installs for this Snowbike, I'll either link the playlist or just go search on my channel. Plenty of installs, helpful tips, some stuff you might be interested in, and then also be on the lookout in the future for a couple more installs as well. So, like always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.